the November TBR wrap up. I'm really excited to tell you what I thought of them. Let's start off with The Seven Husbands. I didn't think that this book was gonna be as enjoyable as I thought it was, even though it's had, the time that it was like really popular, it had a lot of great reviews. Going into this book, I kind of thought like each one was a murder case. That was like before I read the synopsis, before I read anything, and then to find out that it was actually her life going through Hollywood, her struggling with her sexuality and not coming out, and how it affects the people in her the people around her, and come to find out she's not the only one. I think that whole theme kind of took me by surprise, and it's supposed to take you by surprise because obviously people who were in that time, they had to be secretive to protect their career. I think it's just, it puts in more of like a raw feeling to it. Like, yeah, she is a whole human being who did have a whole life, and she's not just this big star who everybody saw on TV. Just the rawness of her character. So that's one thing that I really enjoyed. The dialogue, like her relationship with Harry Cameron, her relationship with Celia, her relationship with just like her crew. At the end of the book, or at the end of the chapter when it was done talking about that marriage, I really felt like these were real people. I felt like I was really connected to the characters while I was reading this book, and it kind of felt like I was just, if I were to kind of make it visual, it felt like I was like the third wheel in every conversation, and I was just like sitting in the corner with some sunglasses and a scarf over my head, and I was like watching this whole conversation unravel from like another table. Also, I want to talk about like these magazines that they have throughout the book. While you're reading the book, they have like these little inserts of like magazines, other journalists at the time, you know, saying what they thought. We're only able to see like what's on the outside. You know, you're reading what's on the inside of her mind and her life. But it's kind of like social media now. We think that we know so much about these big stars, these artists, these actresses, these people who are like seen widely on social media. To have those magazines be shown throughout the book and see how wrong they were about her life and the people around her's life, it's honestly kind of sad. It has this reoccurring sorrow to it. I feel like that also has to do with like the tone that I got from the book. Yeah, that's The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Moving on. The book that I read after that one was Perfume. Perfume took me probably like 2 or 3 days to finish. This book, it wasn't scary the way that I thought it was gonna be. I don't know. I was going into this book in search of a horror story. I was like, okay, to wrap up October and spooky season. Did not know what to think of this book after I read it. What's funny is that going through this book, I could have sworn if I didn't read the last quarter of it that it was gonna be a sharp 2 out of 5 stars. Some parts were hard to get through because like I was like, okay, like there's not much murdering going on. It's just talking about how perfume is made with herbs and oils, and how much he likes perfume and how much it has a big impact in his life, and I didn't really care. So let me just tell you what it's about. We go through the mind of a murderer from literally the starting point. So when he comes out of the womb, and when he's here, and then he grows up with this kind of eerie vibe around him, and the kids that he's around, because he has to go to an orphanage because his mom gets executed because they think that she's trying to kill her son. He's really young, you know. The other kids, they find like an eerie vibe to him, so they try to off him. He wasn't scared of the dark like the other kids, and he just goes through life, and you're going through life with him. He comes to start killing pure women because he finds that there's like a recurring scent within them that he needs to put into a perfume to make like the greatest perfume. Like, he ends up realizing that he doesn't want humanity to love him because he's never loved humanity itself. So there was no point in making a perfume of getting people that he never loved to love him, and he finds that he's loved it more. He finds that he's loved it more when people hated him. One of the weirdest thought-provoking books that I've read in a while. Yeah, that was Perfume, The Story of a Murder by Patrick Susskind. Cersei was an adventure. You go through her life and you meet these characters that she runs into. I think that this is the perfect book of Madeline Miller that really shows her magic writing. For the most part, I didn't want to put down this book. If anything, there were some parts that I just read a little faster, but I didn't want to put down the book, like Perfume, at some parts of it, because you go through her life with her, it makes you feel her heartbreak. Like, she's been able to see a lot of people in her life come and go, and I guess any other god or any other goddess in Greek mythology wouldn't have cared, but because Cersei does care, you're able to feel her loss with her. And the closest sibling that she had was Aeetes. She loved him the most because he was always there. She found comfort in his presence. He grows up, he's like, okay, I'm gonna be sent away, my own kingdom to rule over. And you would think that he has more, I don't know, sympathy, I guess, for his sister. But then, like, when Cersei expresses that, he doesn't really care. He's like, yeah, you should have known that I was gonna leave you. And I think that's a really important part in the book, because it really shows how even the person, the god that she loved the most, which was her brother, failed her. Cersei is more, she has like more human traits, and she has more of like a human mindset, I guess. She wishes towards the end of the book, when she's spending time with Telemachus, she was also mortal herself, and the life that they would have, the children that they would have, her life with the loved one only once. Like, she won't go through the pain of losing that loved one by watching them grow old. That's what she's thinking about before she makes her final potion. This is without, I feel like, it trying to be, reminder that we only have one life, and it is imperative that we make it have quality, because if it weren't true, and if we had this life forever and ever like the gods, and we would not care because we would never die, then we would just have quantity, and it would not be fulfilling, and we would not be happy. With all this power, she still doesn't want all that power. That was Cersei by Madeline Miller. Favorite book, if we were to say like my favorite, would be The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. For number 2, I would probably say Cersei. And then third, I would say Perfume. But yeah, those are the 3 books that I read for November. That's the end of this video. So thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And I will catch you in the next one.